Hello everyone, in this video we're gonna take a look at Top Darts, a PlayStation Move exclusive created by David's the Tale and available on the PlayStation Store. Running at the maximum resolution of 1080p, Top Dart successfully recreates the experience of playing darts by combining a great attention to detail, both in the visuals and the physics, to the throwing dynamics allowed by the PlayStation Move motion detection. Before getting to the orchid, let's take a look at some basic preparation stuff. A one-time calibration process similar to that of a PlayStation Move shooter turns your controller into a laser pointer, allowing for an intuitive menu navigation as well as for aiming your darts at the dartboard. But more on that later. You can also customize your virtual persona, taking a snapshot of yourself within one of the many avatar templates on offer, and build your own dart by combining different segments, albeit this is purely cosmetics. To play Top Darts properly, you need to hold the PlayStation Move the way you are seeing here. It takes some time to get used to it, but it eventually feels very natural and comfortable. Contrary to the tightly projected red dot used for menu navigation, control over the aiming cursor projected on the dartboard is intentionally less tight, in order to imbue the aiming process with some need of delicacy. I'll explain why in a second. Pressing either triangle or X allows to toggle the zoom on and off, which is rather useful for aiming at the smallest segments of the board, like the double and treble rings and the bullseye. The circle button is used to recenter the cursor, which is useful in case you change your playing position during the game. Pressing square allows to remove all the HUD elements, while pulling the trigger toggles on and off the virtual dart in case you need a clearer view of the dartboard. Okay, now before you can throw the dart, you need to lock the cursor to your target. You do this by moving the cursor to the position you want to throw for and hold the move button, which brings me back to the delicacy thing I mentioned earlier. Since aiming is as easy as simply locking the cursor over the target, the looseness of the cursor behavior is intended as a way to mitigate the easiness of this process by making it actually harder than it would have been if the cursor was most tightly projected. As to why aiming is lock-based to begin with, I guess it depends on the different setups the game needs to accommodate for, as different people aim at screens located at different heights and distances. Not only that, was aiming totally free, the game would have needed to impose a recreation of the actual dart setup in order to avoid cheating. Moving on, to throw the dart, you simply move the motion controller towards the screen and release the move button. The speed of the movement of course affects the trajectory, but most of all it's the lateral drift you need to pay attention to. Notice that a yellow line extending and contracting from the middle of the cursor. That's the visual representation of the drift. To keep it at minimum, you need to execute the throwing motion while keeping the motion controller as steady as possible. Here are the consequences of not doing so. It is important to keep in mind that once you have locked the cursor, the game assumes the target is right ahead of the controller, so you need to keep it level, pointing straight ahead, not at where the cursor is on the screen. Drifting and power detection sensitivity varies depending on the skill level. The higher it is, the less forgiving the game will be, of course. The top two skill levels also require to throw within a time limit, indicated on the outer ring of the cursor. One last thing to pay attention to is the collision detection with the darts already present on the board, as they can deflect incoming ones. This is especially true when aiming for a tiny section of the board. The game doesn't allow to throw from an angle, as it always assumes you are throwing perpendicularly to where you have locked the cursor. Therefore, it is paramount to place your darts so that there is room for all of them.
140!
As for game modes, there are quite a few to choose from. Leagues and cups are present, of course, along with the so-called stack-up game, which asks to hit numbers indicated to the right so that no more than 10 of them stack up. Bonuses also appear on the board from time to time, offering the opportunity to multiply your score, clear the stack, or freeze it for a few seconds. A grand total of 10 game modes are present, some of which allowing for 2 players simultaneous play. Multiplayer is offline only, by the way. Among these, there are 3 so-called novelty games, which are quite fun. In Cat and Mouse, one player, the cat, has to catch the other one, the mouse, by scoring more points as they both run around the board anti-clockwise. In Fuse Wire, each player has to burn down the opponent's fuse by hitting first the numbers indicated on the top of the screen. And finally, in Mayhem, the winner is the player that managed to score the most by blowing up dartboard sections with his dart bombs. Top Darts also includes 4 different venues, adding visual and aural variety to the experience, as well as 4 so-called novelty dartboards, which are oddly shaped ones. You can also customize the standard dartboards in various ways. You can apply to them any picture stored on the hard disk drive, a snapshot taken from the PSI, or even its video feed. Oh, and by the way, the game also supports custom soundtracks, which can be selected straight from the cross-media bar. So, despite the lack of a professional darts corporation license similar games are built upon, which is mitigated by the voice commentary provided by Sid Waddell, Top Darts managed to offer a quite faithful representation of the whole darts experience, and the motion detection is so spot on, you often feel the outcome of your throw as soon as you lift the finger from the move button.
Double 9. Player 1 is victorious!
Thanks for watching, alla prossima!